Hello, and this is Big Bang Bond. Today I will be reviewing Spyro the Dragon for the Sony PlayStation. Now here's a very quick history lesson. Let's just say that the PlayStation had a lot of violent games and Sony wanted some more kid-friendly games, and that's what the PS4 needs. So they got Insomniac Games, who would later go on to create Ratchet & Clank and Resistance, to make a kid-friendly platformer for the kiddies to enjoy, and everyone to enjoy, so they made Spyro the Dragon. The game came out in September of 1998 in North America, October of 1998 in Europe, and April of 1999 in Japan. Now this game has received above average to ultimate praise. In fact, I even know someone who would call this game their So, considering praise like that, then this game better live up to it. So, let's play the game. Spyro 1 has a very silly and simplistic story. It starts off in the Dragon Realms, and there's a news report. I didn't know the dragons had cameras, but whatever.
Now I understand he's found a magic spell to turn gems.
So then they start talking about this bad guy, or the bad guy called Nasty Nork. And then they start criticizing about him. Because they hate him. And I mean they hate him, and he hates them, so he freezes every single dragon in the Dragon Realms, except for little old Spyro over here, or little young Spyro, whatever. So it's up to our main hero, Spyro, to save the other dragons and to rescue the Dragon Realms as we all know it. The story is simple and silly, and yeah, it's not that good, but hey, it's a PS1 game which is aimed for younger audiences, so hey, I wasn't expecting a super deep plot, plus I don't care about the story anyway. The gameplay is the thing that matters. In Spyro, there are a total of 6 worlds, which I will be calling by their cliche. Let's see, we have Grass World, the evilness of the war zone, because, you know, it's a war between Norks. Yeah. The magicalness of Magic World, the spookiness and weirdness of Swamp World, the dreaminess of Dream World, or as I like to call it, Dream Weavers, and last but not least, the smallest one of them all, the most generic one of them all, the one with the most simple name out of all of them that I don't even need to make a cliche name for it, Nasty's World. Dum dum dum. In each hub world there are a total of 5 levels. 3 normal levels, 1 boss level, and 1 flight level, which I'll get into later. Now, Spyro 1 isn't about getting from point A to point B. Oh no! Well, you can still do it if you want to, but whatever, you won't get anywhere if you do that. Nope! Instead, it's about collecting all of the collectibles. First, there are gems which come in different colours, which all will have their different amounts depending on the colour. So we're gonna use this GameCube controller for, you know, explaining. Red is 1, green is 2, blue is 5, yellow is 10, and purple. Wait, where the beepers are purple and then purple is 25. Whoops, that wasn't meant to happen. Gems can be found just lying around in steel crates, which you can either burn or charge into. Inside enemies. In steel containers, which you have to charge into, because if you try and burn them, you'll never, ever, 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 ever burn them or open them. Steel crates that you can only open with a key, but I don't have a key. Oh wait, I have a key. Let's try and open it right now. What? I can't open it. Why can't I open it? I'm trying to put this key in the hole, but it won't work. These things, these fan thingies which you have to burn a few times in order to open. These things which you have to burn and then the gem pops out and then you need to grab the gem, which actually comes in every single gem colour. So that is the most unique one because it comes in every single gem colour, unlike everything else where you don't know what colour gem is in there, but you know what colour gem is in those ones because it has the colour of the gem and yeah. And then, last but not least, we have these steel crates where you need beeps such as fireworks to destroy them. Kids, don't use fireworks, because it's illegal. Well, unless you're 18, but kids aren't 18, so whatever! Gems are special because, unlike most games, gems are essential collectibles, even for any percent runs. There's a total of 14,000 of them in the whole game. As well as the gems, another important collectible are the dragons. Yeah, and there are a total of 80 of them. Now, after you save the dragons, they say something. Now, sometimes they say some useful things, such as this dragon, who is also the only dragon you can't skip.
I'm going after him.
Find dragons first. That's all I can tell you.
But some dragons are completely beeping useless. Just listen to what some of them say.
Thank you for releasing me.
That is not helpful at all. Thank you for releasing me. More like beat me for releasing you. Just to let you know, that's not the only dragon that says that. Nope. Multiple dragons say that. And don't think, 2 dragons say that. Nope. More than 2 say that. I don't know how many say that because, well, I didn't count. But, trust me, quite a few say pointless beep like that. Such as that sentence, which quite a few dragons say. And last but not least are the dragon eggs, which you get from these blue thieves. Now, I did not bother counting the amount of these there are in the game, but I think it's like 10 or 12. While these thieves can be easy to get sometimes, other times they can be a bit harder, especially when it's your first time playing. And in case you're wondering what you need to beat the game, I made this little pictogram for you, and it's on beep you need to beat Spyro 1, including dragons, gems, and eggs. 50 dragons, as it says here, 10 dragons, 6,000 gems, like it says here, 1,000 gems, and 3 eggs, and that is just 1 egg. So yeah, that's all the beep you need to beat Spyro 1. And if you had to do this in like English, you'd probably get a 1. I'd probably get a 1C because look at all of this awful grammar I did. Yes, all of that awful grammar is amazing. It's just the best. And I'd like to mention that there are no eggs in the second half of the game for whatever reason. Weird. The controls in Spyro 1 are very, very simple. You press X to jump, which is nice and simple. You can hold square to charge. You press circle to burn stuff. You hold triangle to go in this camera view. You can use L2 and R2 to move the camera, which, by the way, you press L2 to go right and R2 to go left. So, I guess it's inverted! Also, you can roll by using the L1 and R1 buttons, which is not inverted, but the rolling is beeping useless, so it wasn't really worth mentioning, but hey, it's about the control, so I might as well explain everything. One cool thing about the flame and the charge is that the game knows that those are your abilities, so some enemies can only be killed with one. For example, enemies with like metal armor cannot be killed with the flame, but they can be charged at, and fat enemies which can't be charged into, but they can be burned. Yeah. Although there are some enemies and environments that are too powerful for both your flame and your charge, so you have two options if you can find the right abilities. You can get the super breath by getting kissed by this fairy, and all it does is make your breath stronger so that you can break super strong metals. And the supercharge. Where Spyro can literally go so beeping fast and still break metal that he even put Sonic the Hedgehog to shame. I'm going to give you Sonic proof of that. Hey Sonic, have you ever heard of this new guy called Spyro? He's way faster than you. No, he's not. Yeah, he is. Okay, then prove it to me. Okay, I will. I told you, Sonic! I hate you! You'll never be my friend again! I don't care. Anyway, you killed my first copy of Mario Kart Double Dash, so die, Sonic! The bosses are jokes. They're pathetically easy, pathetically lame, and overall not really worth mentioning at all! I mean, just look at the first boss. Look at how lame he is. Just look. It's a stupid sheep! That is obviously lame. Now, there aren't really any more bosses to mention because they're all lame. Although one is called Blowhard, in case you're interested. In the flight levels, basically, you have 4 objectives and you need to destroy 8 of each object that the game gives you to destroy. Now, if you get all 8 in one objective, you get 60 gems. If you do everything in one go, you get 300 gems. As for the events you do, the ones that reoccur are breaking chests and going through arches. The other 2 are random, you're always killing enemies, but they're always different. And then you're either destroying barrels or flying through rings! Graphically, Spyro is a very nice game to look at, especially since this was Insomniac's second game. It's bright and colourful, the textures look nice, the character models look nice, the game just looks nice. It's surely nowadays you have HD graphics and realistic looking graphics, but this is nice, bright, colourful, and back in the days when games were still good and not super violent. This was the good times of gaming, not today. The music in Spyro 1 is great. Now, while I wouldn't call it the game with the best soundtrack ever, unlike someone I know, which is not Stimpyland, this game still has some great music. I don't know what my favourite song is, but there are some pretty good ones, such as Wizard Peak. Here's a fun fact for you. This song was actually used in the credits in the Amanda Show. No, really, look it up if you don't believe me. I'm being serious. Seriously, if you don't believe me, then beep you. I hate you. Go drown in a pool of lava. I hate you. Ah! Okay, but this song's still amazing. I also love the music for the hub world that Wizard Peak is in. Magic Crafters. Oh, what the beep. This should do the trick. There we go. Oh, and how can I forget about that catchy as beat title screen music? As for the sound effects, well, I don't care about sound effects, but this game does have nice sound effects, and the voice acting can be laughably bad.
Thanks for releasing me, Spyro. You have no idea how long I've been trapped in crystal. And, neither do I. Who are you again?
I'm out of here.
Okay, guys, you gotta admit that was pretty stupid. Is there anything wrong with Spyro 1? Well, there is one thing that does annoy me about all three of the original Spyro games, and that, in case you don't know, is that you can't collect gems again once you've already collected them. Now that actually sucks, because it makes it less satisfying going through the levels. Yes, you can still kill enemies, but still, there's no gems to collect, and there's no satisfying sound. No, there's not as many satisfying sounds because of that. And this especially sucks in the final level, which is Nasty Nork's treasure room, which is Nasty's loot. Now that just sucks, because this level has a total of 2,000 gems. It's so satisfying playing through it the first time. All the other times are not as satisfying because there aren't any gems to collect. afterwards. That just sucks. Now, it's not a huge issue, but especially in Nasty's loot, it can be quite annoying and unsatisfying. Another problem is that the game can be cryptic in a few places, such as here, where you need to use the supercharge in Haunted Towers to get to a special area. And trust me, some people may be able to maybe figure it out on their own, but I needed to use the internet to find it, because I just didn't know to do that. I did not know to do that. And that's not the only place. There are a couple of other places. Plus, just like every single mission, task and exploration platformer type 3D platformer, there are always times where you can't find one item that you're missing. Now that is always, and I mean always, an annoying feeling, but that's practically everything I have wrong with this game. Now let's move on to the good things. Like I said before, the game looks great, it sounds great, it's very fun, it controls fluently, and yeah, the levels are very fun, they're nice and big to explore. There's loads of places to go. There's a good amount of levels. Every level looks different from each other. But the game is very fast-paced and fun. It's so satisfying getting all of those gems. And yeah, this game is just so satisfying. It's just so beeping satisfying. And also the health system works really well, which I forgot to mention because I'm a beeping idiot. Anyway, I'm going to explain it to you. See that dragonfly right by you? Yeah, that's Sparks. He is basically your health, so kind of think of him like Aku Aku, but not quite the same. When he's sparkling gold, you've got full health, which means that you have 4 hits until you die. When he's blue, you have 3 hits left. When he's green, you have 2 hits left. And if you get hit while he's green, he's gone. And if you get hit when Sparks isn't with you, you're gone. Nice and beeping simple. You can restore your health, thankfully, by killing little innocent animals by either charging into them or burning them to death, which will give Sparks a butterfly, which will make him appear, and if he's not with you, he will just turn green once you get a butterfly. So yeah, that's nice and simple. Another thing I love is the variety. I've already said that not 2 levels look the same, and that is definitely true. And as for the enemies, they don't a single enemy does not reoccur for more than 2 levels maximum. That's right. An enemy reoccurs in a level. It can appear in one level, then it might appear in another one, the keyword being might, and then it'll never appear again. That is just so creative. That and every single level, and I mean every single level, has a different song, which is also sweet. So this game's variety is just very high, and each level is very different. The enemies are always different and fresh. The level designs are fresh, and the music's always fresh. So this game definitely has a lot. So this game definitely has a lot of variety. Now it's time for the overall. Overall, Spyro the Dragon is a very, very, very good game. This game is just great. The graphics are great, the music's great, the game has a lot of variety. Overall, this game is great, and I will give it a B+. Well, maybe an A, I'll just give it a B+. But this game is still great. If you see this game for cheap, go buy it. it's definitely worth the money. Now, while it's not my favourite game of all time, and in case you're wondering what it is, that'll have to be Super Mario 3D World. This game is just incredible. Go buy a Wii U and this game right now. This game gets an S, my best rating ever, because it's my favourite game of all time. Spyro the Dragon is still a solid game, which you should definitely buy if you have a PS1, PS2, or PS3, and you should download it on the PlayStation Store if you have a PS3 or PS Vita, or PS4, I think. But we're not done yet. Oh no! Oh no! Now it's time to talk about the Japanese. Wait, what? What? Ripto? What? Guys, seriously, guys, look. Does this look like Ripto to you? Does this look like Ripto? Does it? Well, I guess it does. I mean, Ripto's name did come from the Japanese spelling for Spyro. So anyway, let's play the Japanese version. Not very easy to do with one hand. Now, most footage will be taken off of YouTube because on my original PlayStation, the game looks like this. Yeah, that. But there are a few differences. For starters, there are numbers above the level counters, like in Mario, where it's like 2-2 for this one. So yeah, that's a odd change, but it's there. And the font on the pause menu is different, which is odd. Yeah. But now we will have to be looking on YouTube for the rest of the changes, for the most part. The story's practically the same in the Japanese version, but it gives us some backstory of Spyro with this cute anime look. It's a very nice artwork, I must admit. And while I can't read it, the pictures just give you justice by showing you everything. That, and it still explains the game's story, in a way. It shows Nasty Nork watching Spyro, and then he gets angry. Then he just turns all of the dragons into stone, into crystals. For whatever reason, but if you played the game, then you should know, or you could just read the text, and if you can, and yeah. And then it just shows us a bit more. It's showing us a better version of, Spyro only being able to attack enemies in one way or another. Way better than I can, and yeah. So that's interesting. The first difference I'd like to mention in the Japanese versions, other than the few that I just went over on a bit ago, is that I can't show you on my TV because it's in black and white, is that Sparks is always green. No matter how much health you have, he is always green for whatever reason. One difference with the Japanese version is that there are a whole bunch of signs, and trust me, they are everywhere, and you have to flame them to hit them, from the Artisan's World, or Green Garden as I believe it's called in the Japanese version, all the way to the treasure room, or Nasty's loot. To my knowledge, the only levels which have the same names in Japan are Dry Canyon, Cliff Town, and Wizard Peak. Every other level has a different name in Japan, and if you want to know more about that, go find some videos on the internet. Another big difference in the Japanese version is the speed and the camera. Spyro runs much slower in the Japanese version, and the camera is much different, and it's definitely for the worst. I only found one area in the entire game where the Japanese camera is actually helpful, but everywhere else it is beeping useless and annoying. Spyro runs a lot slower in the Japanese version. He walks at the same speed, but he's slower in the main game, which sucks. It just makes the game more boring, which just sucks. But luckily for you, there's a way to make Spyro go faster. Now, here's what happens if you hold square normally. He charges very slowly. But if you mash X and square at the same time, since Spyro can't jump while he's charging, unlike in the other versions, you can go much faster. Just watch! Look at him go faster! He's going so much faster, and the game is actually fun if you use this technique. But there's something that's so annoying in the Japanese version. On the title screen, after beating the game 100%, hold L1 and R1 on your controller, and then press X. What happens when you do this? You can properly charge at a good speed, charge jump, and yeah, you can't do this before you do a 100% no run. Nope, you have to unlock it. That is just so annoying. Surely the camera's still the same when you're walking normally, but when you're charging, you go at a good speed, and the camera changes to how it did in the non-Japanese version. That just annoys me so much. But the graphics and the music and the sound effects, they're all still the same. Now let's get on to the overall. Overall, the Japanese version of Spyro 1 isn't as good as the non-Japanese version, mainly because it's slower and the camera's worse and there are so many signs. But the Japanese version was actually easier than the American/European version. No, really. In the European version, there were quite a few enemies that really annoyed me, especially in the second half of the game, but in the Japanese version, they didn't annoy me that much. Maybe it's because of the slower speeds, I don't know. But I needed to use the internet a few times on this, but I didn't need to use it at all in the Japanese version. At least I don't think I did. Maybe this was just because I remembered what to do. But anyway, the Japanese version, while worse than the European/North American version, it's not that actually bad. If you mash X and square, you can actually have some fun with this game and go at a decent pace. Overall, the Japanese version gets a B. It's good, but not as good as the North American/European version. And yeah, so I've beaten the North American/European version like 3 times, I think. For this review, I beat it to 100% one more time, and I beat the Japanese version 100% for my first time ever. And you're much better off playing the North American/European version. If you live in Japan, you're better off importing the North American or European version. I mean, it's cheaper for one thing, and while you will need to disc swap on your PS1, it's not that hard. If you're on a PS2 or PS3 though, then you're going to have more trouble unless you use an emulator. But hey, your version is not a bad alternative. Just that the version that the rest of the world got is a lot better. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Remember, if you have any questions, go to the Q&A video. If you have any requests, you can put them in the Q&A video, or you can just put review requests in this video, or you can put them in the Q&A video. And anyway, this is Big Bang Bot signing out. And I know that I've said this before, but you're much better off playing the European/North American version. This version gets a B+, and this version gets a B. So just remember that. But if you're interested to play the Japanese version, then go ahead. I mean, it will cost you quite a bit of money, but it won't cost you too much. I got mine for like £12.18 plus free postage, so that's a plus. Anyway, goodbye!